Hello everyone, my name is Kelsey and I am a book addict, and today I will be doing the New Year's Bookolutions book tag. This tag was created by Books Beauty Emery, and I wasn't personally tagged. However, I watched Bookables do this tag and I thought it would be interesting for me to do here on my channel. So I'm just going to dive right into the questions. So the first one is, a series I plan to begin is The Madman's Daughter by Megan Shepherd. This is a retelling of The Island of Dr. Moreau. And from what I understand, this girl named Juliet finds out she is the daughter of Dr. Moreau. And she goes to his island to find that he's doing all these horrific scientific studies on animals and mutating them into human-like, animal-like creatures. And she has to decide between what is wrong and what is right in this new world that she has found herself in. So I've been wanting to read this book since it first came out, and I finally picked it up on Black Friday this past year in 2014. And from what I know, the third book is coming out this year. I don't know if Megan Shepherd's just going to leave it as a trilogy or if there's going to be more, but I'm really excited to start this series. The second tag question is, a book series I plan to finish is the Trill series by Amanda Hocking. This series I started reading quite a few years ago. I believe I started it back in 2012. I got the first book and I didn't really enjoy it all that much, but I sold it. But I went to the store and I ended up picking up the entire box set, and because it's one of those types of books that when you read it, you really don't enjoy it that much. It's a smaller book. It doesn't really have much depth to it, in my opinion. However, after I finished the first book and got rid of it, I started wondering what happened in the rest of the series. So I went ahead and picked it all up. The first book is about a girl named Wendy Everly, and her mom tried to kill her when she was 6 years old because she wasn't her child, is what she said. And so the mother got put into the insane asylum, and however, Wendy learns that her mother was right. She's actually a troll, and the child that the mom actually had was taken by the trolls and replaced with Wendy. And she goes back to the world of trolls or whatever and finds out that she's actually the princess. And so it's interesting, sort of different, not really, but it contains Switched, Ascend, and Torn. So I read Switched and Ascend, but I need to finish the series and read Torn, and I'm going to reread the entire series this year, so I'm excited for that one. The next tag question is, a book I've been putting off reading year after year, but finally will read this year, and that is Fairy Wars by Herbie Brennan. I bought this book in 2013 on Black Friday at a bookstore, a local bookstore, and I never read it. This boy named Henry who goes to his neighbor's house to help him clean his attic, but ends up finding the Prince of the Fairies, who is traveling through portals into the human world, but there are enemies after him who wants to take his crown and become the leaders of this fairy world. So he needs Henry's help to get back home and close all the portals so that these evil people can't get through to the human world. And it sounds really interesting. However, it just hasn't caught my attention enough that I want to sit down and read through it right now, you know. So I've put it off, but this year I'm going to definitely be reading it. No more excuses about this one. So the next book tag question, I guess I should say, is a book or series that I plan to reread this year. And that book is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I own City of Ashes, and I want to be able to read that book. So I'm going to reread the first one and then go into the second one. When I first read this book, I didn't like it. I didn't get the hype for it. I really didn't. It's interesting. It's not really different, but I really didn't like it. I watched the movie and I liked the movie, so I know the movie's different and everything, but I really want to figure out what happens on some of these loose ends that were left, and I hope that the second book will go into that more. If you don't know what this book is about, it's the first book in the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. It's about this girl named Clary who finds out that her mom is a shadow hunter or something like that, or part shadow hunter, and that makes her a shadow hunter. And she can see all these symbols, and she can see people who nobody else can really see. And there are other shadow hunters, and there's demons, and all this different stuff. And her mom gets kidnapped, and she seeks the help of other shadow hunters to get her mom back. And they have to find this immortal cup or something like that, and that's the only way to get her mom back or something like that. That's what the evil guy's after. It's a lot of different storylines all conglomerated into one book. It's quite long, so it gives it time to go through all the storylines, but I felt like not all of the story was wrapped up in this one book, and that's great for leaving it open to a sequel and everything. So that's the reason that I'm continuing on with this series, is because I've heard so many good things about it, first off, and secondly, because I want to know what happens. I'm not one to leave a series unfinished. So the next question is a genre of which I'd like to read more this year is going to be historical fiction. And I don't really read much historical fiction. I don't think I really own any historical fiction. So I have put out the 2 books that I do own that are historical fiction for me to read this year, and that is going to be Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs and Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I believe both of those would count as historical fiction, and if so, that's one genre that I'd like to read more of this year. And secondly is contemporary. I don't read much in the line of contemporary. I've read a few, maybe 3. I used to read a lot more when I was younger, but recently I've just gotten out of reading contemporary. So those are 2 of the genres that I hope to read more of this year. So the next question is the number of books I want to read this year is 25. For myself personally, it's 25. Last year I read, I think, 2 books, unless you count children's books, that I read more. But I got into a slump all last year. I really tried to push myself last year and go through a lot of those reading, competitions, I guess, when I can't remember, reading marathons, basically, when you have 24 hours to read books, and then you gotta read as many as you can in those 24 hours, and I went through a lot of those last year. I tried to, and it really burned me out. So this year I'm just going to make reading more leisurely and try and enjoy it more. So 25 books is the amount of books I want to read. So. And the last question is, one of my non-bookish resolutions is, and that would be starting BookTube, which I have actually completed. I really wanted to start doing BookTube this year, and because I watch BookTube almost constantly, and it's something that I really enjoy watching, and because I enjoy books. I am passionate about reading. I'm going to college for my English degree because I want to teach about reading. I have an associate's degree in education, so I can teach about English and reading, and I'm very passionate about it. And so by starting this booktube channel, I was hoping to be able to share my passion with YouTube world, you know, like so many others already do. And so I can, I guess, check that off my resolution list for 2015, because I did begin it. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to see more book tags, comment down below which ones you would suggest I do, and I will see you next time. Bye!